Tula tusimbe.
In fact, ngenda kuwabira gwe.
Otaiza. Wawabira buli yataddeko I'm going to sue you. Era kyenize njagala kulaba mikono yesterday nakusabye
Jangu bakuwe.
Because I want
soka ko gugwo
anedda ate ne wawabire because buli ataddeko mikono njagala mu wawabira fo
onne mu Basalirwa
wagambye njagala kuwabira mu
Oliroya wa Sirwanyi.
oli pleader wali
wagambye oti Sirwanyi ne Mpuuga
bokolera
ine mata mabirizi y'abawalire kwabo mu mata
mabirizi kale kakati nakyo kituukirize
mabirizi yagenda mu court before this thing came about
naye ati hono
kakati ensi Basalirwa lawyer wa Mpuuga lawyer wa Sirwanyi
era
wabirwa byali mukola atabikolanga mubaka abikolanga police asasulwa ali ku mulimu gwe gwataasa bali
ate ekyo tosobola kukirizako let me tell you tomorrow I'll also represent you somebody's lawyer. This one is a non-starter. Lwaki? Because it
ani asalawo sabujudisi ani asalawo sabujudisi
kankubuze
ani asalawo sabujudisi ani asalawo sabujudisi oli plead ani asalawo sabujudisi
speaker
speaker yekwe
siyenze
lwaki okakasa nnyo
the matter comes
lwaki okakasa nnyo yajagana discretion yali uli antajja kigana
the first time
uli okakasa nti wakina lyakigana
nigenda yegwe speaker yegwe speaker
sigwe ye
kigenda
yegwe speaker
katigenda kipass
yegwe speaker
kigenda
gwe ne speaker mwe mwasazeewo dda
because I know
speaker
this is not the first time
gwe speaker
gwe sekikugo
gwe speaker Basalirwa
you are senior lawyer
honorable gwe speaker
you are senior lawyer
gwe speaker
you are senior lawyer
entebe wagitutte
you are senior lawyer
entebe wagitutte
you are senior lawyer
kati teka ko mukono genderi
nedda by the way let me tell you do you know between me and you do you know that we have had similar scenarios
kakati ofuuse embega
era ndowooza
ngisaba mu lwatu oli puliida tujja basaavinga abantu
oli ku mulimu ogwo gukole
tujja basaavinga tujja basaavinga bagikuwe otuwabirira
ono bonna benda bawa kati njagala n'abataddeko I want to sue you
yanguwako
tuyanguye
wayogedde
jangu tusavinge jangu tusavinge
I want to know the names
naye ng'ekituufu
gamba n'abalala
abateekako
kyovola banzize gamba mumpe ku mikono
Bashir n'abalala
tukuwe emikono okola otya
I want to sue you
otuwabire tukukoze eki
you are engaged in illegality in fact you are in contempt
eyaki
you are in contempt
n'abawolereza eri
kati gwe genda bawolereza bwe banakuwa
njagala ampe emikono njagala basuwinga you are in contempt
otuwabirira lwaki
kati gwe nja kusaba damages nyingi gwe noono you will pay heavily
tosobola okumanyi mufu
tosobola kubeera mufu
omusango gw'olimu mufu oli wano ng'omubaka mpa omukono owebugiri municipality ompa omukono
juzi nakugamba babeera babeka 171 nze njagala okubeera the 177 kati mubale
ojuze kale otuka bulungi
njagala wadi amatu eri wano bweta okukuta nedda amanya
nedda tujaga kuwa
mwebale
katukirete olwekitira wali
because it is your right
yes
and nobody should really scuttle
yes kakali kijje debate
nobody should be scuttle your efforts
yes
nobody
atandike n'ekyamateeka bw'akimala ayingire mu kyobubaka
exercise in futility is my opinion This is what we are sharing. So we are just sharing. We are sharing ideas.
Naye nga kinatuganda nga babaka
nze sina buzibu na mubaka yenna kugoberera amateeka kugonjoola mu nsonga gy'abaakoze eki gy'abaayagadde baddembe lyabwe. Obuzibu bwendaba mu kintu kino nti ng'ennaku z'omwezi ndowooza zaalinga 14 15 omwezi ogwokuna mwami Mabirizi yatwala ba commissioners n'abantu abalala mu kkooti era ensonga ezo zikyali mu kkooti. Nze mwennyini kamwakoogera ow'ekitiibwa Mpuuga n'ow'ekitiibwa Sserwanyi bantuukirira ng'ensonga zino zimaze okuteekebwayo mu kkooti era process yaagyo tulinze just summons eri. Kakati kyembuuza tunaakola sensa wano nga neeri court process bwegenda mu maaso, lwaki situlese ekimu nekikola ki ekyokubiri ne bwe tunaafuna emikono ne tugenda mu paalamenti sitiiru tujja kuraisinga issue ya subjudice era ekiba kitegeeza nti either way tujja kubeera nga twetooloolera awo. N'olwekyo nze nandisabye nti ensonga eno bannaffe bapapa era olw'okuba bapapa wayinza obutabeerawo kwetegereza bulungi. Ekyokusatu tukyanoonyereza era abamu ku ffe tutandise okutaganjula Hansard tulabe obwonnanfuusi obuliwo, kuba abamu bagamba nti ekintu kyakukusibwa bukukusibwa tekyalimu mu budget. Kati tubuuza bani abakikukusa? Be bana abana Museveni yakukusa chief finance minister, accountant general, auditor general, ani yakikukusa? So kakati debate egenda kutandika kudda ku ani yakukusa ekintu kino. Kati oba kyakukusibwa oba tekyakukusibwa nekimala okuzuuka nti parliament yakiyisa kiringa gamba nti kooti efulumiza oda enfu. Oda ne bwebeera nfu olina obuvunaanyizibwa ogigoberera. So n'olwekyo kyandibadde kyetaagisibwa ensonga eyo tugitunuulire mu anga eyo. Ekyo kikyo naye kyenjagala okukakasa nti tosobola kubeera na nsonga gy'oteesa wano nga waliwo ne court process endala. Kimanyikiddwa zifaanagana ng'ogw'Amabirizi wagulabyeko. Facts zaali zifaanagana kuba kyovunaana ono wano n'eri Mabirizi kyamuvunaana. As simple as that. Ate nammwe mubuuze, you ask them the difficult questions. Bali awo bali mu kubuddiisa abantu. Oluzungu sirumanyi mundeke.
What is the future of peace?
Ngambe ntya? Kiri kitya? Well, first of all, my colleagues were engaged in. But my biggest concern are really twofold. Number one, we are accusing these commissioners for illegalities or irregularities that form the basis of Mabiri's criminal court in anti-corruption. Criminal case in anti-corruption. So you are likely to have our colleagues suffer what we call double jeopardy. And the court case came far much earlier, in April, sometime in April, and it is proceeding. Some of us are representing some of these commissioners. So there is no way you are going to have our colleagues in court battling this matter at the same time you want them in parliament to battle the same matter. It creates a very big contradiction. So it is something that needs a lot of care and scrutiny. Secondly, it's also important for us to begin interrogating. If the argument is that this matter was smuggled in the budget, who smuggled it? We want to know who smuggled it. Because smuggling is in itself an offense. Now those who know people who smuggled it are quiet. Are they part of the four? Are they and when it was being smuggled, where were they? And what did they do about it? Because it now becomes dishonesty. And I don't want as MPs to run away from our responsibility. As far as I'm concerned, we have just to say sorry to the public. That we didn't raise the red flag at the right time, we are sorry, we didn't do our work. Yes, it's really as simple as that. We didn't raise the red flag at the right time. And we must accept to say sorry to to the public in the face of, because if you are saying this money was not in the budget, then why are we complaining? It means that the commissioners got their money from somewhere. So why should we be complaining? You see, yes, it was not in the budget. Okay? But if it was in the budget, then you ask, how did it get there? How did it get there? And why did we allow it to get there? And what did we do when we knew it was there? For me, those are fundamental questions that we must answer as a parliament. Not to appear populist. You want to be populist, appeal to sentiments. Some of these people who are engaged are people you have never seen in parliament. We come in parliament, the speaker finds us there, she leaves us there. Somebody comes, the peeps, he goes away. That they want to understand for parliament. How?
In consultation with the top leadership of the National Resistance Movement, we have guided our members of parliament, that is members of the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, for now not to get involved in the signing of the motion for the petition which is currently ongoing in Parliament. We are consulting internally, and the consultation and engagement is aimed at determining the processes that were arrived at, the legal requirements that was invoked for purposes of ensuring that this particular subject matter was in the budget of Parliament. So for now, we have guided our members that in the circumstances, we do not participate in the ongoing process. Secondly, this is also anchored on the fact that the National Resistance Movement has a well-established constitution and the rules of procedure for the NRM Parliamentary Caucus, to the extent that if there are challenges within or without, the members can invoke the rules of procedure of the caucus before invoking the rules of procedure of the mainstream parliament. In a nutshell, this is in compliance with what we do in Africa, that before you engage your members of the extended family, you should first exhaust avenues within the linear family. So in a nutshell, the members of NRM should have, first of all, petition their caucus to have this discussion internally before we go external. So based on those two justifications, we felt it wise that our members be guided to proceed the way they are guided.
It comes almost a month to sign. What happens to the people who signed already and those who intend? There are others who have already absconded and signed already, despite the statement.
In life, strategic patience is very, very important. That is why in the military, you first aim before you fire. But there are people who fire and aim later. What I'm saying is, the members needed to have waited. Having failed now to go through the internal processes through a petition, because our rules are equally clear, that upon receiving 1/3 of the members, a caucus is supposed to be convened. As I speak, I've not received such, although I chair the biggest caucus in Parliament. So that said, the members who have signed, I will also have to seek for further guidance from the top leadership of the party, because under the party constitution, there is a code of conduct that guides the behaviors of all members of the party. I may not have mandate over executing what is in the code of conduct, but I can only consult with the top leadership or the leaders that are above me who have the mandate under the NRM constitution to invoke that provision on the code of conduct of members.
Honorable, you say you have a position for members not to sign. You said you consulted.
I have not said we have a position. I have said, after consulting, we have guided our members to first halt the process, subject to further consultations and engagement on the subject matter that we are galvanizing signatures on.
Honorable, do you want to mean you have consulted with the top organs, the SEC, the NEC? What exactly, how did you gather to that position of having, not necessarily the position, but to the communication that you are saying the members must abide to? But also we want to find out from you whether you have received any communication from in regards to the service award.
I do not need to unpack. I have stated in principle that in consultation with the top leadership of the NRM, I don't need to unpack that I consulted Mr. Obua, I consulted Okello, I consulted Odongo. In principle, in consultation with the top leadership, we have guided our members that in the circumstances, let's first put a full stop. The party is engaging, the party is consulting to establish the details of the service award. How did we arrive where we are? In the likely event that this was approved by Parliament, in your humble opinion, who would be fooling who? Who would have slept on his or her job of scrutinizing the national budget? These are issues that the party would want to pay attention to. These are the details that the party would want to pay attention to. These are the facts that the party would want to pay attention to. These are some of the issues that has made us say, please, first hold on. Because if, to the contrary, it is found that that was part of the budget approved by Parliament, who has the mandate under the Constitution for appropriation? Isn't it Parliament? Who would you turn to blame? Isn't it more or less the same people who are looking for signatures? So in a nutshell, the party has asked for more time to do more due diligence on this subject of the service award, in line with our legal processes, in line with the procedures for the approval of the budget, and any matter incidental thereto.
Honorable, you lead the biggest group in Parliament here, and share will count.
For now, being a subject of debate, I equally call upon you, members of the media, not to leave it only to members of Parliament. A document on the budget is a public document. Interrogate further and come out with facts as they are, not as it ought to be or as we wish it to be. The budget of the Parliamentary Commission is a document which is open to all. For me, for now, that the party is still consulting, I don't want to be the one to communicate the subject of our consultation. We have said to our members, please, or we have guided them, please hold on. We want to interrogate further. So as we proceed with the interrogation, even if I have the answer now, I also want to challenge you, members of the media, not to only concentrate on the collection of signatures. Also find out, these members who are collecting signatures, could it be that this particular subject matter of service award was debated in Parliament, was part of the parliamentary budget, which was discussed and approved by Parliament? It went to the appropriation bill, which was passed into an act, and when you unpack the details of the parliamentary budget, you find it there. Then you will know who should carry the cross. Is it the beneficiaries or the people who should have done due diligence during the process of approving such in the budget? So for now, I may not say yes or no. It is part of what we are interrogating.
Honorable, this morning we've seen members.
I have already put it emphatically clear that we have our constitution, and I think for clarity, it's important to... In the Constitution of the National Resistance Movement, there is a whole chapter on the Code of Conduct. Now, the Code of Conduct, in terms of its applicability, will apply to members who signed before and members who signed after the guidance. But that is only subject to further consultation with the organization or with this structure of the party that has the mandate to invoke the provision on the behaviors of members. But also I stated that the NRM Parliamentary Caucus is not using unwritten rules. The NRM Parliamentary Caucus operates through written rules approved by the Central Executive Committee, chaired by the National Chairman of the party. And in these written rules, each and every provision is provided for. This is why we are calling upon our members that we should have invoked first what is contained therein, other than engaging gear number 2 when you have missed gear number 1. So gear number 1 should have been invoking your internal processes before engaging gear number 2, invoking the rules of procedure of the mainstream parliament.
Honorable, there are some members of parliament from the NRM that are signing the to show you that there should be a process they want you to follow as the party, which you did follow. And this is part of the issues you want to iron out.
So which process in particular?
You agreed on something in Champans. Yeah, you agreed on something in Champans.
Some of these members are being imposed on them. The commissioner.
So maybe I get my record. You get for me a copy of my letter to the Secretary General, such that you get to know.
Honorable, as we wait also want to come to ask, do you acknowledge receipt of a letter from the Secretary General demanding you to offer information about that service award? 2, who in particular, or which organ in particular are you consulting with?
How so do we see?
No, don't put so many. Let's move one by one. Number 1.
Who in particular?
Okay, number 1 was acknowledging a letter.
Yes.
From
the Secretary General of the National Resistance Movement.
Now what I need is the letter on... I have not received any letter from the Secretary General. To the contrary, I provided a brief to the Secretary General of the party on what is transpiring. But that was being proactive. But in terms of receiving any letter, it is an emphatic no. In terms of briefing him, yes, through our modus operandi.
So which particular organs are you consulting with of the party to come to that position, or even individuals in the party?
In terms of what is now at hand, you need the strategic guidance of the chairman of the party. You need the strategic guidance of the Central Executive Committee, still chaired by the chairman of the party. And in all this, the constitution of NRM gives the chairman of the party an unfettered mandate to conduct any business for the betterment of the party. And that is part of the provision of our party constitution. So in a nutshell, the organ that we are all consulting will all rely on the strategic guidance from the national chairman, because all these organs are chaired by the national chairman of the party.
How so do we see caucus convening for opposition?
Caucus can convene when summoned by the government chief whip in consultation with the national chairman of the party or the secretary general of the party. Caucus can convene upon being petitioned by members, and that is well captured in the rules of procedure. So as the government chief whip, I either wait for a petition or I await for guidance from the national chairman to guide me that please summon the caucus of the NRM, and I will execute it with precision.
Tenga position ya NRM Uganda kama soka ba consultations then ba lokaba badire ne position ya kimino okutwaliza wano.
Okunganya emikono ko kugenda gendera ddala mu maaso. Tewali agenda kuyimiriza kunganya mikono. Naye ensonga eno yatandika mu mwezi gwa 2. Ate kati wejjidde weekudde jjembe mu parliament guno mwezi mulamba. Kati government chief whip okumala omwezi mulamba abadde ali luddawa. Naye waaviiriddeyo tetukinenya, tetuyinza kunenya nti lwaki aluddeyo. Watuuse wabaasanga omulimu watandikira. mpozi n'ekisembayo ffe katwetegeke mu kaseera kano yanditugambye mulekeraawo nga tumulaba alina kyakola ekigenda mu maaso naye alina kyakolako naye kyesirikidde yeebise bulangiti ku bigere ne ku mutwe kati nga naffe tubeeraawo naye nga tutuula yeebasa ali mu birooto bye ababaka toyinza bagamba nti muyimirire nga tolina kyokozeewo bw'ogamba muyimirire kubanga nkola bwe nti consultation nnungi nnyo bulijjo consultation tujagala ejja tusanga nga tutambula tetujja kufuuka bakyesirikidde weba n'aba tusanze we tujja okuyimirira kino si kyakufa na kuwona naye tulina okugenda mu maaso n'enteekateeka yonna kirungi matabuta tulina okwesiima nti no tuli matabuta tujja kugibanjulira olunaku lw'enkya kubanga esalesale awunzika kubanga ababaka nga bagambye nti tebaliiwo naye olunaku lw'enkya bajja kubeerawo ku state of nation address abo bonna babadde at least balina obuvunaanyizibwa n'omulimu ogubaleeta ogwa state of nation address tubakubiriza ababaka bakyasigaddeyo olunaku lwa nkya mujje ekintu tukyabye omuwendo n'ababaka y'ensonga enkulu esuubiddwa ku lunaku nga tuwunzika okunoonya emikono tukiwadde obudde buwanvu teri ajja kugamba nti nno nze mwandekawo naye nga ekyo ndowooza kyekirindiriddwa okwanjulwa sirowooza nti kirungi okusuna ate nga bwe tusumulula kyonna kyonna kigenda kuteekebwa ku mmeeza mu lwatu buli omu amanyike wajagwa wajava naye nga ababaka nsaba bonna ababadde batugamba nti no bajja ku state of nation address wabulewo kyonna ekyekwasibwa nammwe abaterekeddwa eddala salaama 30 ababaka n'abali e Nairobi bonna babe nga bakomyewo ekintu kijje mu ddiiro tunoonya emikono egy'essalira gye 177 naye nga twonoonya emikono egya paalamenti yonna ne bafuna emikono 2 oba 3 gijja kuba gigumiza motion yaffe ebyo byappa naye nga bamumanyi nti okugjamu emikono si kyangu ababaka bandi bajja kuziba amaaso nti nazibya amaaso siraba abalala bagamba nti oba nasayininze zisaategedde bwe bityo naye ng'ekibuuzo ekyebuuzibwa omubaka wa paalamenti bw'abanga asayininga byatategedde kati abantu betukulembera bo banaakola ki ne rules eza procedure tezikkiriza kujjayo mukono ng'enjogera bwegamba nti ababaka beebereremu nabo tulema ati kugwa nnyo bubi wansi okulabika obubi naye nga senkebeera nzibu kubanga kuzaala mwana bakalubirira ababaka basituka bagwa kati ekyo kyali kituuze
or we abet such kind of acts of impunity. Taking money, we want this resolution on the floor of Parliament so that we can also interrogate whether it is false or not. Yes. But we cannot come there without this motion. Yes. Now let this motion be on the floor. Let it be debated. Let the facts be brought. Let the falsehood be proved. That's all. Thank you so much. Wemiyaga nti olwaleero nzeeyo era nze ng'abantu be Nakaseke bakimanyi bulungi nti ebintu kasita babinga ebyekuusa ku nguzi ntera okulwana nnyo era ndowooza kyekimu ku pillars ze bampeerako akalulu okujja mu paalamenti ntera nnyo okuyimirira mu bwerufu kakati ensonga zino zirudde nga zibeerawo era bwe twali kyankwanzi twasuggestinga nti bacommissioners babeere elected oba tubalonde naye bwe kyajja tekyajja bulungi wano naye ebintu ndowooza ebyali birowoozebwa okuba nti bacommissioners abanaabeera appointed bajja kweyisa obubi nakati waliwo ekirabika nti bayisiza bubi bwe baba bayisiza bubi tusobola kubyogerako tya era tusobola tya okuzukusa resolution yaffe ey'ekyankwanzi kakati bwe budde nti tulina okubeera nti tufacilitatinga emotion eno egende ku floor tugyeyo buli kimu interrogatinga ebipapula tulabe eggwanga tutegeeza kiki ekiriwo oba kiki ekibalimbirira. Tetugenda kugenda ku flow nga tetulina motion oyo. Eno motion yetugaidinga. Motion tejjako muntu naye twagala tubiteeseeko eggwanga lyonna bimanye. Nemu okubeera nga nkwanyigirwa enkonyogo buli lwengenda awantu bano bajjayo ebina bano bajjayo ebitaano bano bakola bwe biti. Nedda tugende tuli mu mateeka lino teeka tetugenze mu nkola etali ya mateeka. Gano mateeka buli muntu yenna ajja kuba haadi tusooke tumanye obwefuulibwa. Eno parliament eyeegatta ku bitongole ebirala ebirwanyisa obuli bw'enguzi. N'olwekyo tulina okweyimirira nga parliament tuveeyo tulage nti parliament teri nabyo ebyo bye tuwulira. Mwebale nnyo mwebale.
Azze butereevu
temuli makoona
tabadde mudoinkiti era sebo toyanziza omubaka ddala Nakaseke North bakulabirenga ddala era neera
ebyo ebyokwetoloola ebyo ate munange